There are places where we are raised, and then there are places that raise us. And this is definitely a place that has raised me.
On Maui's North Shore, KAʻEHU is restoring 64 acres of coastal wetlands at KAʻEHU Bay, once home to thriving fish ponds and a productive part of Maui's ecosystem. Decades of development took a toll, but since 2012, KAʻEHU has been healing the land and revitalizing Hawaiian culture. With the support from the American Geophysical Union's Thriving Earth Exchange, they're launching a new water monitoring program, blending traditional knowledge with STEM education to help the community care for the ʻēna and protect it for future generations.
In Hawaiian, the word vai is water, but when we put it together, we say vai vai, that's wealth. And there's a direct correlation to the wealth of the land and the health of the people.
Here in the 70s and 80s, it was really different from what it is today. The population was much smaller. Tourism really wasn't a thing. You know, with the infill development that's coming down the line, you're kind of losing those historically unique areas that are recognizable by just the lay of the land.
So the ahupua'a system, it basically were these strips of land that went from the top of the mountain of an area all the way down to the shoreline. And functionally what that allowed a community to have is all the resources needed to live, work, and play in this specific area. Nowadays, to that point, things have changed.
We have been driving things out of balance on Maui pretty significantly. And a lot of the conservation work that we do, that I'm involved in, takes this sort of ridge to reef approach. So you're trying to really understand the system, not just in the bay, say, but really all the way from the mountaintops down to the ocean.
In this space, we have two major waterways that feed into the shoreline here. So both Waiʻehu and Wailuku feed into the ocean waters. It's a large volume of water, especially when it's raining. You know, there's a lot of material coming out of the mountain.
One particular interest that I've had in my work here in Maui is the connection, not just between the surface water, which is pretty obvious. You see flooding makes the water brown, and you see that very obvious impact, but the overlooked connection, which is the groundwater. So when we have rain, sure, you get the surface runoff, but it's also percolating down, and it's grabbing any sort of pollutants that are lying around.
So right now there are clouds up there, there's rain up in the mountains, and yet our stream beds are dry. And that has just simply never happened.
It's stagnant, and so we need to create more flow. Okay. And so that means eventually clearing further upstream. And we'll actually head after this over to where those trees are, and that's where the spring head is at. Okay. And so clearing out all the vegetation so that we have steady stream flow. We're kind of timing it out though because we want the water level.
You can take a watershed, which is really sort of the valley where anything that falls within that valley is going to wash out to a certain chunk of reef. That's a little sort of chunk of real estate that is typically small enough that you can think about managing it. There's two types of data that I am looking for and hoping to collect. The first one is just think of it as a snapshot. What's the bay doing right now? So towing a sensor around the bay gives me a sense of the conditions in the bay the day that I snorkeled around. The other piece of data that maybe people don't think about is the historical aspect. We can sort of see swimming out there that there are the remnants of corals. Well, how long ago were they alive?
Gathering these stories from our elders about how water used to flow so we can have a better idea of how things used to be. That intelligent piece is where the data comes into play.
We're definitely interested in the sedimentation situation. Our interest is how does that restoration effort impact the coastal environment? So we're trying to look at the water quality from the nutrient level and freshwater seepage level. So we're looking at salinity. We're looking at nitrogen, phosphorus. We're looking at like the species composition change. If there's more freshwater seepage coming out because the wetland is getting restored, we're expecting more lemuribai species, which is like brackish water species, to come back.
Some of what we're doing in the bay is exactly that detective work, to saying, what can we tell in the water that suggests there's a certain type of problem in the watershed, and can we go and then figure out where that problem is and fix it?
There were piles and piles of trash on this area, 30 feet high. It was used as a kind of a communal dumping area. Tires, cars, fridges, and I think the first objective was just to clean it up. I feel like in today's society, individual achievement is really pushed. And what we always were taught was that it was collective achievement was what pushed forward a community.
Department of Aquatic Resources, they're already doing work in the community to monitor Wailuku Stream and Waiʻehu Stream is hugely helpful because those are the two major waterways that flow as far as surface water. Then looking at things in terms of our own monitoring, doing water quality testing and species monitoring on our 2 spring-fed streams, and having all of that data go to University of Hawaii Maui Water Lab. We wanted to really look at what are the highest standards of testing that we can subject this data to, and then how is it that we can improve on the monitoring.
Even if one area is damaged, if overall the environment that you're dealing with is in good shape, you have a condition called resilience.
I see the regeneration of a freshwater fish pond. I see coral reef. I see a fertile kind of refuge.
Most of the people that come to our workshops are people within the neighborhood. I want to be able to kind of teach them that this is here and how they can gather, use, and utilize the resources that we have.
Restoring the waterways, restoring and connecting again the waterways that extend beyond where we are all the way to the bay is a really great metaphor for what we're trying to do with our community here.
KAʻEHU is rooted in the lands here, in the people, the waters, the plants. The common ground that connects us all is still a fundamental guiding light for us.